Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flix Show. My name is Chris Wong. This is episode 501 of the Ping Pong Flix Show. Let's get into some DC updates. This one is coming from Geek Vibes Nation. They're saying that Warner Brothers, The Flash, looks to begin filming this September and wrap around January, February 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia, and Warner Brothers Studio in Leavesden. So this will still make it to possibly that July 2022 release date. Yes, it's still over 2 years away. Let's hope they stay on point. Let's hope they keep going with it and getting it done. Now, they're also saying that Ezra Miller is locked down as cast as the Flash. They're still waiting on news about Kiersey Clemens and Billy Crudup. So those are the main other two that have come from Justice League, even Zack Snyder's Justice League in terms of Kiersey Clemens. So we'll have to wait and see about that. Then we'll start finding out a little bit more about this, how flashpointy is this thing or not at all. But kind of excited about this. I'm more excited about the core characters of the DCEU than the non-core characters. But the DCEU, DC films, all in general, are pretty cool stuff. Now, next one is another film that's coming out, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Fandom says James Gunn's The Suicide Squad won't heavily rely on CGI. There are more practical effects and sets in this film than any big budget comic book film ever. And that's via James Gunn's on IG. James Gunn retweeted that and elaborated a little bit more. CGI is important, but I used practical effects whenever possible with the Suicide Squad, including the biggest, most beautiful sets I've ever seen by Beth Mickle, real locations, real costumes by Judiana Makovsky, pyrotechnics by Dan Sudik, prosthetics effects by Legacy, and more. So, which is something pretty similar to what David Ayer. He did real prosthetics and real costumes. He even won an Academy Award. His team won an Academy Award for costume design and stuff. So I think James Gunn going in this direction is good, and he's done that before. I think for the most part, I think in Guardians of the Galaxy he did a lot of that stuff, but there was a lot of CGI in that one. This one seems to be a little bit more grounded. It's a mission-based film, and seemingly, probably, this is the direction he wants to go into. But he does go into detail further. Like, he is going like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 or 7 tweets about the importance of CGI and the importance of physical effects, and it depending on how you use it. It could be more expensive doing CGI, but it could also be more expensive doing practical effects, like, say, making a giant Mothra model, right? So you have to pick and choose your battles. He does say that he tried to do the practical effects for Slither, the creature in Slither. That didn't work out, and he found out it's best to use a CGI component for that, and so on and so forth. So there are different things, and he just goes into detail in terms of filmmaking and the choices that directors make to whether to use practical effects or to use CGI and what would work best for their project. So it's kind of cool that he got into detail about that. Opens up a little bit towards our view of how directors choose the CGI or practical effects and how they make movies. And I like that. I appreciate that part about it. Even though the Suicide Squad may not be one of my most heavily anticipated movies of the DC, but I can certainly am interested and intrigued to see where this movie goes and how this connects for the overall picture, if it even does. So James Gunn, the Suicide Squad had wrapped filming, I think it was like last week, and they're working on post-production now. Possibly have reshoots depending if he chooses to see like if there's more scenes that he wanted to do or do something differently. That's normal for any movie production, so we'll be looking on over for that. Now, one of the biggest news, maybe even the biggest news today, was that Matt Reeves actually tweeted out the Batmobile. He showed the Batmobile today, and this here, a nice car here, a vintage type car here, almost like a Dodge Dodge Charger, I think, and of course Batman right there. This as well. This almost looks like a picture, painting almost, and then a little bit closer to the guts, to the back of the mobile and the Batman in the background. Now, I want to say the lighting is nice. This is if this is how the movie's gonna look, I'd say the lighting is good. It actually lights up the Batman better. The suit looks way better in this environment, in this lighting, than in the behind the sets. I almost wish they had revealed this before we saw the behind the scenes, because that would make this, the initial impression, a lot better, right? And when you look at these pictures, to me, my initial reaction, I tweeted this out, initial reaction to this is that it seems, to the feeling, and I don't know if this is what it was supposed to accomplish or this is what it's going to be like, but it feels like a grungy, more, very grounded, more practical Batman, as someone who's not refined, unrefined, if you will, right? And to me, it kind of reminds me of it's like a Jack Reacher meets Batman, or the Equalizer, or even more appropriate, like Mad Max type Batman, where he kind of fixes up his own car and goes on a vigilante run and drive around town and beating up bad guys and being that dirty hero, right? He's not the billionaire Batman. He's more like the utilizing the millionaire Batman. That's what I want. Like, billionaire Batman is like Christian Bale Batman, and even to the extent Ben Affleck's Batman, because they have the technology and they do all this kind of stuff. I feel like this is like a fixer-upper kind of Batman. He's in the early years. He fixed up a Dodge Charger into a mobile and using it to go around. So very much like a Mad Max type of Batman. That's what I'm getting from that aesthetic, and I could appreciate that. I think Matt Reeves' inability to try to create something, not inability, but chooses to create something that is different from what we've got so far. You've got a largely tech-based billionaire having people make the tumbler and everything in Nolan's Batman, very tech-based, to a more, the end-of-the-road Batman, which is Ben Affleck's Batman. He's putting guns all over the car because he's at the end of his road. He's been doing it for over 30 or 20 or 30 years, and he's had enough of it, and he's really, they're big and brawly. And this one, I feel like you can kind of feel like he's starting out. He's a little bit of Batman Begins. He's got a little bit of the armor, not really in tuned with the technology yet. So he kind of souped up a Dodge, this vehicle, and going about town and fighting criminals and stuff in this vehicle. So, like I said, almost like Equalizer, Jack Reacher to me, Mad Max, and I think that'd be kind of interesting. Although people like to say this is about the mobile, there was a lot of jokes going around, including this one from Boss Logic, where they kind of joked between this is about Fast and the Furious, Bat and the Furious. One went out, and this one's called the Batman, and of course he kind of edited Dominic from Fast and the Furious to look like Batman and have put this on the chain. So it's for fun, because it's about the vehicle and things like that, and I thought that was kind of hilarious as well. So that is indeed the Batman. Looks like it's moving along very well. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more from that, maybe a little bit closer to the suit, to the costume and stuff like that, and to the face in this environment, in this shot, right? More of what it's supposed to look like on film rather than what it looks like outside, right? I'd rather see actual shots how it's supposed to look in the film, with the lighting, the appropriate lighting, the appropriate ambiance, and to make it really pop, to make it look like how you're supposed to be visually seeing this Batman, how you're supposed to be really feeling this type of Batman. And I think these pictures work very well for in that department. This is what should have came out in the beginning, right after seeing that little teaser of him walking towards the camera. This should have came out before we even saw any behind the scenes or any of those behind the scenes leaked out. So I'm glad that he's showing it now, and it looks much better. Even though I probably still don't care for the gauntlets too much, I think it still looks like straps rather than actual a nice gauntlet thing going on, but that's okay. I could say maybe it's a Mark 1 bat suit, and he'll continue to work on it. This is just the beginning stages of it, so but we'll have to wait and see. I wonder what he sounds like, though. Is he going to have any voice modulation? Or is he going to talk like a gruff voice, or is he going to be like the Bale thing? I'm that part is also interesting. I'm really intrigued to see how that works out as well. All right, now let's get back to announcements as we end our show. There's our early live chat announcement. I will be interviewing and chatting with Victor Koo, Mighty Pegasus 88, the winner of the Zack Snyder's Justice League fan poster event. Like I said, this Saturday on 3/7 at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Come by, congratulate, and let's chat with Victor Koo. See what his thoughts, how he made that poster, what his thought process in making that poster, where he's from, how did he get so talented, and about what are his thoughts, so what was he feeling right now, and is he excited to go on set with Zack Snyder to shoot that additional scene for Zack Snyder's Justice League. So that's one thing coming up. Now, there's another thing that's already out right now. I did a podcast, a Skype call with Lantern Alex and or Lantern 2814. And it's already out. I'm gonna put the link in the description below or right here if it pops up. We had a nice conversation. We had a nice chat about DC films, about Birds of Prey, about what we're excited about, the new DCU films, and of course, we also talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League as well. So if you're interested in any more insight or opinions on those matters, go no further and check out Lantern 2814's new podcast, or Lantern Alex. Alex and I had a really good time, and I think we're probably going to do another one again, hopefully soon. The next one is, and lastly, tomorrow's the big day. Okay, the hashtag the Way Back Trending Fan Event is going on tomorrow. By the time you read this, the goal is to make hashtag the Way Back trend on March 5th, which is tomorrow or today if you're watching this right now. Ben Affleck's new movie, The Way Back, releases in theaters the next day on March 6th. He supported hashtag release the Snyder Cut. So we should return the favor the day before The Way Back comes out, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tweet your support for Ben and The Way Back, and be sure, okay, to include The Way Back in all your tweets. Please start at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is also 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. GMT, 8:30 IST on March 5th. Let's get this trending for Ben Affleck's new movie, The Way Back. Let's give him our appreciation for supporting and saying the Snyder Cut should be available, for tweeting out hashtag release the Snyder Cut, and that we are so happy that he's come back in his full. I mean, I've heard this movie was incredible. I've heard he's back in he's better than ever, and almost Academy Award type performance in this movie. So also go watch this movie as well. You know, not only just tweet it, watch this movie at once. Support Ben Affleck and his new movie, hashtag The Way Back. And so, I don't know if you've seen, but maybe I'll throw this link up where if you don't have time to tweet at this time, right? I did a video back in November during the Snyder Cut extravaganza on how to actually tweet out in advance, right? So I'll show you the steps and how to get on that program, the Twitter deck and a tweet deck, and just be able to schedule your tweets so that you don't have to be there to physically tweet it out. So that works as well. Or if you're subscribed to like Hootsuite and other programs such as those work as well to get it trending tomorrow, which is March 5th. Hashtag the way back. Let's get it. Let's make it happen. Let's help out Ben Affleck's film, The Way Back. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.